What's up, everybody? Welcome to, I don't know what we're going to call it, Jeb, but it's the post-fight wrap-up when it comes to UFC Strike, the marketplace, and just the craziness that happens on fight nights and pay-per-view cards. I'm here with actually Jeb Bush. What's going on, Bubba?
What's up, man? We just got finished watching a pretty great card. The ending was a little lackluster, but I mean, unfortunately, poor Tom had that accident. I hope he's able to recover.
Yeah, I really do too. It was a rough end. However, it was a fun start. Let's go through the card. We'll do a quick wrap up of that, and then we'll see what happened to the marketplace afterwards. And there were some weird things happening, during that. So let's pop on
Yeah,
over. It was the UFC London, which I love. I hope you love too, especially you being on the West Coast. It's super early. Like you still
yeah.
have a whole evening ahead of you. So do
I
I. I
was
mean, pretty much
I
I
was
do
drink
too.
I was drinking my coffee while watching the prelims. It was beautiful.
How cool is that? That's
Yeah,
really cool. So UFC London, the last UFC London, actually, Jeb and we did a live stream during. I did a live stream during this one, and it was a blast. It was a great time. This was almost a repeat. However, we had two sore losses at the end. Let's go back up to the uh, early prelims and see if any of this really affects Strike moving forward. First
yeah,
of all, we got Claudio Silva versus Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby is the Danish wonder. We both talked about this earlier today.
before the fights had started.
Yeah, and for some reason, Claudio Silva's coming off of a two-fight losing streak.
Hmm.
But he's good. I mean, he's good. He's just kind of in this bad rut. I, for some reason, wanted to pick him in my pick 'em. I didn't. I ended up going with Dalby after talking to you as well. Dalby did win by decision. What'd you think of this fight? Claudio did come out early, and he
Yeah,
looked good.
in
Looked
that
good
fir-
round one. He won round one.
Yeah, in that first round, it looked like Dalby might be in trouble. He even almost got the submission there. But I mean, Dalby just the reason I picked Dalby over Silva wasn't because I'm like super one or the other had like a massive advantage. But I don't know. I just felt like Silva wouldn't be able to if he didn't get it quickly, which I didn't think he would. He actually got a lot closer than I thought he would. But if he didn't get that submission quickly, I just thought Dalby had the superior athleticism and stand up game to weather the storm and do some more damage than what Silva could bring to the table. And that's kind of what happened.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Dalby's gas tank ended up winning that fight, but it was a pretty good fight to start the card off. Second, we've got Mandy Bone versus Victoria Leonardo. Victoria is a Shreveport, Louisiana girl. Neither one of these fighters have won yet since starting in the UFC. They both off coming off of losses in the UFC. Victoria, I think, has even fought like Manon, and I think Victoria's had like two hard fights. She was able to be victorious in this fight. What'd you think about this fight? Did you watch this one?
Yeah, this was one of the ones that was like good fight, pretty dominant win by Victoria, which was needed because, like you said, she hadn't won since her date. She hasn't won yet, so hopefully she can build some good momentum here. But I thought it was a pretty clear cut that she won. So let's hope that boosted her confidence a bit and she can move forward and put together some sort of streak.
Yeah. I could see these fighters coming out eventually in Strike. They're not anything that I'm like dying to have put out.
Definitely,
But
yeah.
it was a decent fight. Again, two decision fights in a row, kicking the card off to a pretty slow pace. Second,
Another decision.
I did have though, I think picks so far I was right. Got to Jai Herbert, Kyle Nelson. Another decision. I had Jai Herbert hoping to win by a knockout. Ended up
I
winning
picked
decision.
I picked Nelson in this one. Couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do a lot more. He really kind of was a little bit lackluster. Came out a little more tentative than I thought he would. But that's what happens with the prelims too. Is like these are fighters that you may not have like a ton of like fights to go back and look at and see like really what you think they're going to do and how their styles are going to clash. So
Right. And if you're not, yeah, I mean, sometimes prelim fighters are so hard to pick. I mean, for anybody,
yeah.
like it's a hard game sometimes. And there are a lot of, once you get to main cards, people start to really know the fighters and you're
Mhm.
able to like play your odds or play your gut feelings a little bit better. But sometimes undercards are hard. I know Jai Herbert pretty well. I don't know Kyle Nelson as well. So it was easier for me to go with that pick. Neither one of them have moments. But we
Yeah,
come up to somebody who definitely needs a moment soon, right? And
correct.
this is Muhammad Mokaev, who is on a 7-fight winning streak, 7-0.
Hasn't lost, yeah.
Has not lost. This is only his second fight in the UFC, though, if I'm correct. And he was fighting Charles Johnson, who had maybe the most interesting haircut of the night. I'd say more so than Paddy Pimblett, even. What
Yeah.
you think of this fight?
So I picked Johnson to pull the upset here. I just thought I was like everyone's picking Muhammad, like, and Johnson has a lot of power. I think he has a deeper engine, like a deeper well to draw from than people thought. Which he did prove. Like he went 3 rounds, he survived 3 rounds, and if anything, he looked more frustrated because Muhammad was all over him. Like he could not do anything. Like the fight was just being completely controlled, like so masterfully by Muhammad. So
Yeah, bro.
yeah, Makayev easily won this one. I was disappointed because I thought this was going to be my like
Your big
huge like
upset.
haul. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, I think Johnson like has an outside shot, and I think people are counting him out, which they did because a lot of people thought Makayev was going to just like steamroll him in the first round, but
exactly.
I mean, like you said, I think that fight made me want a Makayev strike moment
I
because
want him big time.
I
Big
think he's such a dominant, masterful performance and really showed that he I think he's got a bright future in the UFC.
Exactly, and I do think that, especially with Series Zero, the people deciding the moments did a really great job picking a mix between some established fighters that are already pretty popular and some upcoming fighters that there's room to grow, but they had a promising or budding career. Muhammad Mokaev has got a freaking budding career in the flyweight bout. I mean,
Yeah.
when I look at the flyweight rankings, I'm like, okay, he's going to be flying up them pretty soon. He looked good, really
Yeah.
good. He was,
Dude,
white on rice on this guy. He was
he looked
all over.
incredible. He
Yeah,
looked incredible.
strong, strong fight.
Yeah.
So I look forward to getting a Muhammad Mokaev moment. I also Charles Johnson was very impressed with his defense. The problem was, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Like he just got beat for 3 rounds straight. I mean, he
Yeah.
just didn't have anything he could do, and you could see the frustration and disappointment at the end of this fight. We were joking around about it's probably better to get finished than just get beat for 3 rounds in a
You
row
could
because
I feel like in round 2 even, you could see the frustration on his face where he's like, "Look, I can defend this, but I know I'm not winning this round because
yep,
I'm not able to do anything. Like, this guy's
yep,
all over me." And so, like, I think Johnson could have really benefited from just creating a little space and giving himself a chance to, like, get some jabs in and, like, create a healthy distance so Makayev wasn't just constantly like, I think Makayev, I wanna say, had 10 takedowns
I
that
think it
fight.
ended up with actually 11. Yeah.
11, yeah. Like, he was just keeping Johnson, like, smothered and on the ground, and Johnson, like you said, was good enough. His defense was pretty impressive. The fact that he didn't get submitted when I think a lot of lesser fighters would be, but he never had a chance to, like, get in his groove.
No, there's no offense. It was defense the entire time for him. But so,
Yeah.
um, then we went into
Ooh,
Makwan versus Jonathan Pierce. I actually didn't get to see this fight very much. Just
this
trying
fight
to
was
set up the stream. Did you? How was this fight? Tell me about it.
this fight was so good. This was so good. I love this
Second round
fight.
KO.
Yeah, and dominant performance by Pierce. Weird chest tattoo, I will say, but
Yeah.
everything else, like his striking, his ground game, everything was extremely solid. I mean, he had Makwan on the ropes in round 1. It was we kind of all thought it was done then, and then I mean, in round 2, he really cleaned it up. As you can see, like it did not the whole fight did not last that long. So
Do we think this is a strike worthy moment? I'm going to go back and watch this actually tomorrow morning whenever I go kind of do some more. When I rewatch, I usually try to rewatch like 2 or 3 of the fights since I missed this one completely and it was a TKO. I do want to see it. Do you think it's strike worthy?
yeah, yeah, I think Pierce is one of those fighters that kind of maybe not on the exact same level as Makayev, but I think Pierce is one of those people that like I haven't seen a ton of him, but what I've seen, I'm impressed, and he definitely seems like a fighter that has like a future. So maybe not this moment, but if he or maybe if he wins another fight or two, this moment would be a good one.
Huge.
But Makayev, I feel like green light, make him a
Oh,
moment right
this
away.
needs to be a moment right away.
Correct. Pierce, I say wait a fight or two. Let's see.
Now, I missed this fight. However, I did see this fight, the last 2 fight or the last 3 fights.
Okay.
The Nathaniel Wood versus Charles Rosa. By the end of the night, I had forgotten about it, and then I saw at the end of the broadcast they brought it back up, and I forgot. Oh yeah, that fight was super fun. Now
Super, super good.
Nathaniel Wood came out hard. The dude was just better than Charles. Now, but
Yeah.
Charles has a chin on him because he was getting lit up. He was getting smoked a lot, and they made it a fun fight.
They
When Charles got into the ring or octagon, did you see how red he was from beating his
yeah,
chest and stuff?
yeah.
That dude was a
Well,
wild
at
man.
at the end of round 3, he was, like, yelling at Wood. He's like, "Let's go, let's go." Like,
Yeah.
he was not giving up. Like you said, he
Is
had a
this the new
chin,
Sean Strickland?
and, I mean, maybe, but, like, Wood dude, the thing that killed Rosa was Wood was just hammering that left calf of his,
Yeah.
and it reached the point, I think after it might have even been partway through round 1, but definitely from round 2 on, he would just get kicked in that left leg, and he would just lose his legs and be on the ground. And because of that, like you could see that he just couldn't throw the weight behind the punches like he wanted. And then Wood was just faster than him. Like Wood, I think Bisping said that Wood made it seem like he had like a 2-3 inch like reach advantage
Right.
when they had the exact same reach, and it's just
Just
because Wood was so fast, he would get in and get out without getting touched. Like it was incredibly impressive victory by Wood. Another fighter that like I could see getting a strike moment.
Hey, maybe a Nathaniel Wood versus Jonathan Pierce fight coming up. That would be something fun. Also,
Yeah.
Charles Rosa, if you're going to go in there and bang, and you're going to be a fan favorite because you're a fighter and you like, that's how. I mean, people love a brawler. You know, there's a lot of people who still just want to go see people brawl.
Yeah.
So, I
Well,
thought this fight was extremely fun, and yeah, maybe not moments yet, but maybe soon.
yeah, the announcers were even saying about Rosa that they were saying maybe that the ref should call the fight because his leg was just toast. And the fact that Rosa never gave up and just kept going and like I mean, dude was taking a beating and he was all about it. So I think he deserves a lot of props for showing like some serious heart and like putting on like a real show.
It's weird how a lot of UFC fighters can make fans that way. I mean, Rosa might have a new, like, he might have made a bunch of fans by just not quitting.
Yeah,
Um,
he definitely is on my radar now, someone that I would definitely watch again and be excited to watch again, both of them.
Mark Casey versus Damir Hadzovic. This fight went exactly how I thought it was going to go. We saw DeCasey, who's actually got a really good stand-up game. We watched him, I think, together go in and fight. He went in. This was in Columbus, Ohio. Fight his last fight, and he fought Vyacheslav Slavaklaus. I can't say his
Mhm.
name correct. Slavaklaus
Yeah,
is a great kickboxer, very excellent striker, and he got smothered by Mark. I mean, completely
correct.
smothered. Mark got booed the entire fight. He just completely laid on the guy. He did nothing, but he won by points. Mark is trying to climb up the rankings. He said it. I don't care how I have to win. I want to win. He's not trying to put on a show anymore. He's going to win the whatever way he needs to. However, this match, I did think there would be a little bit more striking, and yes, there was a little bit more. He did that wrestling again, dude. Dude's a great wrestler and just smothered Demir. A lot of booze during this fight too, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, if Mark seems like you said, like he wants to climb the leaderboards and actually like have a shot at getting ranked and like making some real noise. So like people booing him now might be cheering for him later, like when the fights like matter more. So I say like you know what, if that's what you need to do to win, like what ultimately matters is the win.
Right.
Like it's better than losing, you know,
Well,
whether it's a flashy win or a boring one. So
we say that, but Colby Covington also said he was going to get kicked because he just went and wrestled everybody and was on a winning streak, getting ranked, and they still said they were thinking about kicking him before
yeah,
he created his character. I don't know how true that is,
I
but
mean, Mark's got a red mohawk, so Colby Covington
that,
never had that.
yeah, that's all you gotta do. As long as you got a red mohawk, you can be the most boring fighter ever. No, it's the weird thing though is he's actually a good striker, and so that's why. But he lost a couple fights in a row, I think, from just trying to stand and bang. and I think he's just
Yeah.
trying to be a really smart fighter now. So I'm excited to see taking a lot less damage when he's not sitting there fighting, striking. I'm excited to see him maybe fight a little faster, and maybe we can. I could see him having a moment sometime, maybe something older, something with like a highlight. He needs a highlight.
Yeah.
He's a
Agreed.
last
He
one.
needs one of
Oh,
those
go ahead.
moments where people aren't gonna boo him.
Right. We don't, dude. Maybe it'd be fun to just have a boo moment. Like you just smother a guy. The moment's
Just
just
laying on
boo.
top of a guy.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually kind of would be cool. I'd probably be into that moment.
Could be different, it'd be kinda cool, be kinda cool.
Yeah. Last fight of the early or the prelims was a lightweight bout between Mason Jones and Ludovic Klein. I watched this fight, but this was another one getting ready for the stream, and I didn't catch it very well. It's one that I'm gonna have to watch a little bit more thorough. Was it a good fight? It went decision, unanimous, third round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything good about this one? I think everybody was so ready for the main card that this one kind of got lost in the sauce for me.
I would kinda agree, like, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't paying, like, super close attention to it, but it wasn't anything, like, notable to me. I picked Klein to win before, but yeah, I mean, it was a solid victory by him since he's obviously the underdog, but, yeah, I was starting to get a little more excited for the Meatball Molly and Paddy at that point.
Yeah, so it looks like yeah, I mean 56 strikes over 43, 70. I mean, a little bit less striking, a little bit more, but he also was the only one who had a knockdown, zero takedowns.
Yeah,
Uh they percent 0 out of 3, 0 out of 1. So I mean, this seems like they just stood up and banged, but I might gonna have to go back and see that. I don't know about Mason Jones or Ludovic Klein with the moment coming up, but it's time to just jump into that main card because that's what we all care about.
yeah,
Main card started off pretty wild, right? Paul Craig is a moment that I want so bad. Paul Craig,
same,
he's
same.
a badass dude. They could do a hype moment of him eventually. I really wanted this
Agreed.
win for him. Painted face. He comes out all William Wallace, warrior status, and he goes 3 rounds with Volkan Oezdemir. We knew this was going to be a nail biter because of the way Paul Craig fights. He always fights from behind. In fact, it looks like he's getting beat up a lot worse because in this fight, he went to his back multiple times on purpose. Like he just would fall back. I mean, but
Yeah.
sometimes he'd be getting clipped as he was going to guard, like to play off his back. So you're like, do you count it as a knockdown or what? I remember the first round, people were like, I don't even know what to count some of these as.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was weird. It's weird and it's always scary. And hats off to Vulcan. He did a great job not falling into Paul Craig's traps.
good
Even though
discipline.
in the first round, I thought we had him. I thought Paul Craig. I don't know why I say we. It's not like I'm in his corner. I thought Paul Craig had Vulcan. He had an ankle lock that looked pretty nice, but Ozdemir had a good defense for it and was prepared. And his strikes, he had like we got to look at significant strikes because Vulcan was tagging him.
Yeah, yeah,
What do you think about this one? Oh my
this
god!
is this is one of the fights that we talked about before it started, before, like, the whole card even started. Because you and I were, like, both like, yeah, like, you were like, "This is gonna be a nail biter." I was like, "Yeah, I agree." And I picked Paul because I was like, "I just can't bet against him," not only because, I mean, I'm a huge Paul Craig fan, but also just because I feel like time and time again, he's proven, like, that him being the underdog isn't,
That's how he
that
fights.
yeah, it's how he fights,
Literally
like,
how he fights.
so hard to bet against him, so hard. Like, that's I think the stat of the fight that indicates, like, really how it went. The fact that he tried to get 15 takedowns and couldn't get a
I didn't
single
realize
one.
he didn't get a single one. That doesn't seem right to me. So I understand why this is 0 because this is kind of a bit, if you just look at it on paper, it doesn't quite make sense because it's not a takedown if he goes down and pulls him to his why he's on his back, right? Because
Mm,
he tries to fight off of his back. For some reason, that's where he wants to fight.
that's
He
his
feels like
comfort zone.
yeah, he feels like he's best off his back. It's not a takedown when you pull a guy on top of you. That's not,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
but he did shoot a ton, and I remember Volcom just punching him in the head as he's trying to wrap up his legs. But this strike differential is insane. I mean,
Yeah,
72 to 33, 56 of his strikes were significant, 64% of his strikes landed. Like it, a lot. It's a lot.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Hats off to Volkan and Uzumir. I would like both of these guys to have a moment, to be completely honest. And also, Volkan was called out. We have a bunch of light heavyweight fights coming up. So it was a bummer to start the card off, but then Molly came in and saved the freaking day, baby.
Oh my gosh. Just second time in a row. I like legitimately like cannot believe it. Like, is that's just becoming her bread and butter now? Like, what like an elbow? Like, oh my gosh! And then, unlike the last elbow where it was just such a clean knockout, this one was like elbow and then pieced him up to like on top of that to finish it off.
Dude, she's a brawler. They were saying
Yeah,
afterwards, also maybe that at the end of the broadcast, it's just her, Paddy, and Bisbee sitting there, camera shot on just the three of them, completely took over the ESPN broadcast. Talked for like 5 to 6 minutes, and it was great. And you just
mhm.
love her even more. She's out there drinking Hallerhead, having the blast.
Yeah,
She's so there's something about her that's so like real.
Mhm.
And I hate that I don't know anything about Hannah Goldie, and I feel bad for her because she was going into Molly's world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there was
home crowd.
I don't know if she had 10 people cheering for her. You know what I mean? Like everybody loves Molly. That's a hard thing to go. Some people work really well at that, but who knows? And I all respect to Hannah Goldie. I thought she did pretty well at the beginning, especially for being like a negative or a plus like 600 or plus 500.
Yeah,
Um, but Molly rocked it, and just like you said, the second spinning elbow 2 times in a row. Come on. Come
insane,
on.
insane. That's such a hard shot to set up and be able to pull off, and the fact that she's done it twice now at, like, such an effective, like, rate is incredible.
That one was
Uh,
off the fence too.
I know, I know, insane. And kinda going back to and we'll talk about this a little more because of the next fight, with Paddy, but I think one thing that is really cool is not only, like, that she's fought for in front of the home crowd twice now and, like, pulled off incredible wins, but her and Paddy are, like, moving up together, and they
Yeah.
seem to be, like, super close, like,
Also said they'll always fight together. Yeah.
genuinely good friends, yeah, and because of that, like, it makes it so much more exciting where, like, I think I would say I knew about Patty before I knew about Molly, but I became a Molly fan
Because
because kinda
yep.
Patty's the one who, like, introduced me, and I'm sure it works both ways, and now with Bisping in there, like, and them just both continuing to, like, take massive W's and, like, build their profiles and people becoming more aware of them. Like, it is so exciting to watch the 2 of them just, like, really dominate so far.
Do you know who she called out?
I didn't see that. Who'd you call out?
Shevchenko.
Wow. I
I
would
mean,
I would
that's
love to
pretty
see that.
intense.
I
I
would love to see that fight.
that's, I kinda wanted to have one more fight before that, just that's a we're going all the way, but she's like, I'd be an honor to share the ring with you." Like, that's a terrible Liverpool
No,
accent,
that
but
was
I'm gonna
pretty
work on it.
that was alright. That was passable.
So, here's a question. Would you like to see we have last London's, uh, like, spinning elbow knockout, middle
Yeah.
of the cage, amazing knockout, amazing.
Molly McCann's strike debut.
Would you like to see a fandom moment where it was like Molly McCann's second elbow? Or is that like, nah, that's too much? It's such a fun knockout that I could see people being like, I'd like both of them, but we already have the one. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so the one thing I will say is that first one is just so clean. Like,
oh,
that
the
one
first one is amazing.
is one of the most beautiful knockouts I've ever seen. Where it just like her opponent was like just like on the mat, just like spread eagle, like lifeless, like
Oh, yeah.
so knocked out. While this one was a little more like I said, she got the elbow and then she pieced her up on the way down. Like,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
ref had to come in and like,
I think Hannah was out on her feet and then she was getting like
oh yeah,
she was stun locked and then woke back up to strikes.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
she definitely was like, "Huh?" and then was just down, but
yeah. I
great
think
fight, a lot of
I
fun.
think I think as a fandom moment, I could see it. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't be rushing to get it, I would say. But it's a fun moment, and I mean, just it encourages like Strike users and UFC people who might be interested in Strike to like use this to like follow like Molly's journey upwards, like as she's continuing to climb the ranks and right now is just like this unstoppable force. So like having that documented as a part of strike history would be cool.
Could be. I could also
Yeah,
see a lot of people complaining because she did just get a moment, and then they would be somewhat similar moments. But I was just
correct.
wondering because it was a great knockout. It definitely kicked the show off. We went from a kind of a bummer, the Paul Craig Volkan Oezdemir fight, into like people were pumped.
Electric,
And then
electric.
after that knockout, you don't think that, "Oh, I forgot this was next." Then
Yeah,
this fight was great too, but this fight was so short that I almost forgot about it.
same.
Nikita Krylov versus Alexander Gustafsson. Gus is a fighter that I love. He's had some amazing wars in the past. He is a fighter I respect. He came back. He's was gone for a while. He came back. He fought at heavyweight. He didn't do very well. This was his return to light heavyweight since his sabbatical, or his departure from the UFC.
Mhm.
And Nikita Krylov showed that. I mean, something's going on, Gus. Right? I just don't think he should be. I don't think he's got it. It's kind of sad because he was at one point so good, but look at these
Yeah,
26 to 5, 26, 59% of his strikes were significant. To 5, at least, hey, he almost landed all significant strike, 2 knockdowns, and this all happened in 1 minute.
yeah,
Um, I mean,
pretty
it would
pretty short.
Nikita Krylov went out there and pieced him the F up, and then called out Volkan Oezdemir, which would be a fun fight because now you're talking about 2 dudes who are strikers who, he barely lost to Paul Craig after beating Paul Craig, but then got caught. Volkan
Mhm.
Ozdemir didn't let that happen. I would love to see the Krylov Ozdemir fight. I think that would be awesome. And I honestly don't know what I want for Gus. It's up, obviously it's
Yeah,
I just don't want him to go out there and get hurt over and over because he is a legendary fighter. I just think it stinks. I would love to see a Gustafson moment though from back in the day, like
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the old fights. But I think this could be a highlight fight, and I think if there was because that we already have the Paddy challenger, we'll have the challenger, and we have his other fight. I don't think we would want a fandom third fight, but maybe
Correct.
I think
No, yeah,
that
there's
Nikita
you can't you
Krylov
can't make a you can't make a fandom of Patty this early too, because he's, like, just getting started, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I think the Nikita Krylov, KO of Gus would be a great fandom moment if we got a fandom moment from this, fight, which we might not. I'm just saying this
Yeah,
is probably what I would
or a
see.
good contender moment, you know?
Oh, that'd be great
Like,
to give
is
him
he
a
is
contender
it be
moment.
his first moment, first debut moment, solid victory, like, nice
Both these
flashy highlight?
both these cats need a moment in
Yeah,
UFC Strike. I like both of them. All right, moving on to Paddy Pimblett. This was it, man. This was
yeah.
basically the rub. This was the star. This was the show. And
This
Bisping
this
and all of
fight
them said
this
it
fight
was
and
the
the
most
Molly fight
electric.
were the 2 best fights of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just because there's so much, everybody cared so much, and then you come
correct.
to find out that over $2 million was bet on Molly and Patty. They had to both win from
Wow.
Drake. They knew that too going in. Drake is famous for crushing people with his bet.
Yeah, the Drake curse. It's
Yes,
the
well,
worst.
they ended it.
Yeah, well, dude, Drake's been on a I
Been
think
on a heater, yeah.
he after such, like, an insane, like, streak of
Losing
losses.
streak?
Yeah, he bet a lot on Adesanya. I think he bet a mill on Adesanya.
Yeah,
I mean, that seems like a no-brainer, but at the same
right.
time, like, the Drake curse is a powerful curse, so, shouts out to Adesanya and Patty and Molly for resisting the deep magic that, curses so many sports teams and
That
sports
is lover
athletes.
boy.
Yeah.
Um, I thought this fight was great. I was very nervous about it. I think Jordan Levitt, if you don't come out of this fight kind of liking him, I'd be surprised.
Yeah,
I thought he was I'd never heard him in interviews. I only knew he's way
I
stronger than he looks. Dude is
way,
strong.
way stronger. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, let's
Because,
talk
like,
about it.
oh my gosh, dude, that guy, like, he does not like, you had Patty who came in just shredded, like, six pack, like, his
Mhm.
arms were, like, absolutely shredded, looking incredibly strong. Jordan, like, did not look like he looked obviously in good shape. Obviously, he's a UFC fighter and he's not like a heavyweight, so he's going to look like he's in great shape and all that. But he does not look like particularly intimidating or like
Oh,
extremely like
strong,
strong or anything like that.
strong
And
legs.
this dude was picking Paddy up over his head and
Multiple
like dropping him like in a row multiple times. I was absolutely shocked. And yeah, like you said, I've never heard of this guy ever before, but I don't know how you watch the weigh-in and the fight and the interaction between Paddy and Jordan the entire time and not be like somewhat of a fan of Jordan, because Jordan was incredibly good sport, and he was the apparently he's the guy. The one thing I did know about him going into the fight is he's the one who twerks on people when he beats them. And then you had Paddy who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna teabag this guy if I win." So you knew that something funny was gonna happen afterwards. And Paddy did the teabag, and Jordan was like a good sport about it, which I think sometimes you see people get emotional and like try to go after the person. So Jordan gained a lot of respect in my book. Incredible fight by him. He put on a show. He really, for a second, had me really nervous
Uh,
because he was doing a good job at kind of doing what we were talking about with Makamov, uh, where he was smothering Paddy. Like Paddy didn't have a lot of space to like get jabs in or strikes in or even like kicks at the beginning. He was doing a really good job of keeping like the space at a minimal, constantly trying to like take Paddy down. And even like Paddy would resist and he would be strong enough and persistent enough to just keep going until Paddy like kind of had to give a little and reposition. Yeah, this was
uh,
my favorite fight of the night for sure.
when looking at the numbers, though, it feels a lot. It doesn't. The tail of the tape, or not tail of the tape, but the stats don't necessarily tell the same story that we saw, because I
Yeah,
did think that Jordan was doing a great job in round one, but then I kept forgetting that Patty had 4 sub attempts, right?
correct.
So, and so even though Jordan felt like he was controlling Patty, Patty had these tricky little sub attempts. Kept I don't know if any of them were that serious, but he just kept going. It ended up submission with an incredible trap the leg body triangle. Like you
And
should
trap
use
the
it.
arm.
Yeah, trap the arm. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Oh,
Trap
yeah.
the arm body triangle that doesn't get done very often, is actually very, like, it's a very difficult high level submission type move. And I think, obviously that's not the submission, but the fact that he's got that triangle with the arm trap that takes a lot of strength, it's really impressive, and I think a lot of people are gonna come away from this liking Patty more. In fact, a bunch of people in the Discord like Patty more now after just hearing what he was fighting for and hearing that he isn't just a cocky. I think Patty's a truly genuine person. I actually think
Yeah,
Jordan is a truly genuine person too. So,
agreed.
all respect to Jordan. I'd love to see a Jordan moment. Remember, Jordan was 10-1. It's not like Jordan. This isn't like a nothing win. This is like
Correct. No, yeah. And on top of that, like I think the thing, another big thing about it is like I said, we didn't know a ton about Jordan going in, but I think a lot of us like knew this was going to be Patty's test at like ground game. Like we knew he was good on the ground. We knew that he wasn't like a complete pushover on the ground. But this Jordan specialty was grappling, and the fact that Patty was able to hang and bang with him, it would like very much impressed me and showed like just another element and another dimension to Patty's like fighting abilities that I just really haven't seen in previous fights. Even though he has gone to the ground before and performed very well, I think this was just another
first time
level.
in round one.
Yeah, exactly.
It showed you he's got a lot of sneaky moves, and Jordan is the same. But hey, I do want to show you this because this is Jordan's only KO. So I did know that he had some slam power, but this is pretty cool.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That's it. Done.
Wow.
Slams Matt Wyman out cold.
And the
Seconds into the
splits and
fight.
the twerk.
Whoa. That was as
That's a pretty cool
That's
KO.
vicious.
It's a pretty cool KO. So I'm a
Yeah.
fan of Jordan now. I want them both. I want Jordan to have a moment, and Patty. We're going to talk about it in just a second after we finish wrapping up the Tom Aspinall one. We won't spend too long on it since there's just not much and we don't have more news. Oh, yeah, this fight. Everybody was off such a high on this one that I feel like this one went down. I'll tell you this. Jack Hermanson needs a moment. Chris Curtis already has a moment. Jack Hermanson, where did standing up and banging all of a sudden come in? When did he get like a striking game? Was extremely impressed by his striking. 100 strikes, 100 of them were significant. Are you like what?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's insane. Look at these numbers.
I will say that it does seem like there's kind of a little bit of bad blood between the two after the fight, and it's because Curtis was just saying like Jack is running, and he was like, he was getting very frustrated, and I think, like you said, Jack, I don't think anyone expected him to have a stand-up game, so the fact that he
completely
did,
different game plan. Yeah, I agree.
super impressive, but because of like whether you want to call it running or just like being a little more careful and having a game plan to not just like dive in the pocket with Curtis and just bang it out and see who survives, it ended up being a pretty lackluster fight for sure.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It's impressive, dude. If you throw 100 punches and significantly, like 100 of them hit, like are real punches.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive, dude. I think that I don't know Jack Hermanson. I used to really like him. I don't have a problem with him, but that last fight against Sean Strickland, I was like just really happy that Strickland won. And since then, I've kind of felt like, it's stupid. I don't know why, but when Strickland won, I was like, okay, now Hermanson's just kind of done. I don't know why I wrote him off like that. I really thought Chris Curtis was going to come in and win this fight and kind of be surprised and upset everybody. Good for Jack Hermanson. We need a moment. Definitely think we need a Jack Hermanson moment. I don't think this was the fight for it, but
definitely not the fight for it.
The last thing we'll talk about was very upsetting, sad for both fighters, for the crowd, for everyone. I hate seeing injuries. It is a dangerous sport, but there's been a lot of injuries happen that aren't even from the fighting. They're just it's happening.
Yeah.
Curtis Blades goes in, and in 15 seconds, Tom Aspinall throws a kick, steps back. Something very bad happens to his knee. They said he was like in excruciating pain.
Yeah. He couldn't even straighten out his leg. Like his leg was like he was down for the count. Like he was in so much pain.
So they said they think it's going to be the MCL because that's the most painful of the versions, like of what could happen. The ACL, you just wouldn't, and your leg would have folded a lot different.
Yeah,
it seems like it could be MCL, which is I think worse if the MCL snaps than the ACL. I can't remember which one.
I'm almost positive the ACL is like the worst injury you can
the ACL is the worst one.
Yeah. But regardless, I mean, neither of us are doctors, so they might both be real bad. But
I think both of them are bad.
Yeah, regardless, it looked really bad, and it was just obviously like very upsetting. Like just as a fan and of fighting in general, and just the fact that Tom just had built up some like serious momentum. His last fight was incredible.
Yep.
I think a lot of people were really excited to like see him like try to take it to that next level because Blades is kind of like such a gatekeeper. And if he would have won, it would have just really catapulted him into like taking a stab at the belt. And now not only does like his career is like at least put on hold for at least a year, probably.
Nice for sure.
But like I don't even know what happens with Blades now. Does like he get to try to like fight someone above him or?
Well, Blades for sure. You can't take this away from Blades. Blades showed up and fought. He took the hard job. Even though he was ranked above Tom Aspinall had so much momentum going into this fight. It's in his home turf. You just can't take anything away from Curtis. He will fight. He will fight the winner of Gane and Tuivasa in September.
Okay, I like that. That'd be
after
great.
that fight. So basically, they were setting it up for Gane and Tuivasa, and then Aspinall and Blades. The winners of those two fights were going to fight each other. And the winner of that fight will be the one who challenges whoever probably wins the fight out of like John Jones and Stipe, because Francis is still probably not coming back until 2023. So they're trying the heavyweight division is set up in such a weird way right now. And there's a lot of people kind of at the top but it's going to take a while because of Francis Ngannou leaving with the belt, and because we're still waiting to see if John Jones comes back and if Stipe is going to fight. So it's so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, those four are kind of basically they're all almost contenders. I mean, they all are contenders. So, but
Yeah.
it's going to be Curtis Blades versus Tuivasa and Gone, and that's going to be an extremely important fight to watch. So you guys should definitely check that out. And hopefully by Christmas, hopefully by the end of the year, we get a John Jones Stipe fight. So we know what the hell's going on. And that'll probably be for an interim belt. But
yeah, I know the Gone Tuivasa fight's September 20th, so
yeah,
that can't come soon enough because
no, that's
I've
going to be
been
a
hyped about
huge
that
card.
fight for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible card. I think that fight's going to go fast. Don't think that fight's going to. I'm hoping second round KO.
Fight. Yeah, I think it's going to be a crazy, crazy fight for sure.
It's going to be, yeah, it's a wild one. It's a wild one. Can't believe how fast Tuivasa has grown too. All right, so let's take a look. That's the recap of the fight. You heard it from us. I think it was a great card. I had a lot of fun. Shout out to the Mill Gang and everybody who stopped by the stream to watch it. I will for sure always, if I can, stream the day strikes or the day UFC events. So let's take a look at UFC Strike and see what happened to the market.
Yeah.
So we just had the London drop. We have the redeem now. Did you get your hype? Did you redeem your hype?
Oh yeah, immediately. I think that's so cool because like Bisping's just like such a face of UFC for like multiple reasons, and the fact that they're getting him, they got him on the platform with the champion moment and the hype moment, where it's like, look, they have the cream of the crop moment you can get, or a moment for everyone. Huge fan of that, especially corresponding with the UFC London. Like, great job by the Strike team once again, just executing on that stuff.
I'm with you. Sorry, I got to buy a $16 Khabib real quick. Too cheap. 9339. Wouldn't have done it except 9339. That's a cool number, right?
That is a cool number.
Okay, so what has happened on the market? Let's see if I get it. What's happened in this market? We had the London drop. So we had Tom Aspinall, Leon Edwards, Molly, first moment, and there you go. Got it.
Got him.
And who else did we get? Darren Till.
Darren Till.
Tom Aspinall was about $32. I think a lot of people were sitting on waiting to see what happened with the fight. As soon as he got hurt, there were $24 moments on the platform. So right now he's sitting at 28, higher serials, but you could use for $30, you can get a 332. I looked at getting this 1111 for $31. There's 16 people looking at it. Let's look at the activity for today. What do you think? What do you think the move on that moment's going to be
for Aspinall?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm tempted to buy one just because, like, I think there's a very good chance it gets used in some sort of challenge. Because like a lot of the moments when they come out, they get used in challenge. We haven't had any. The only challenge going on right now is the Paddy Pimblett burn challenge, which we saw really quick. We saw Paddy run up once he won. That activity tab was just flying with Paddy purchases.
He's still actually doing pretty decent. I mean, 33. He was at 20. You could buy one. You could snipe one for 26 today. And now 33, pretty strong with only 3 of them there. And I'm assuming it's going to stay around that 32, 33. Maybe like Monday, it might have fallen down a little.
We'll see.
But what's the Tom move? What do we think? What are we thinking?
So I think I'm leaning towards buying a Tom. I don't know if I think there's a good chance you need a Tom for a challenge. Maybe you need maybe it's an either or where you need one of the challenger moments from that drop as opposed to both. But I feel like Tom is at a solid price, and at the very least, it's like sell him in the challenge when it's announced. I keep going back and forth because there's part of me that's like, okay, I don't want to buy this moment and then have to hold it for a year, essentially. Because obviously it's not going to really have any movement besides challenges because, I mean, he just had a very serious injury. So
we think. We aren't for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I would lean towards going and scooping one. I think it's like a 70% chance that I go ahead and do that.
$27.
Yeah, go ahead and do that myself at hopefully it gets down to like 25. But I'll probably scoop one just to kind of like hope that he's in a challenge or something. Because I mean, obviously it's like a almost potentially a $10 difference between him and the Leon Edwards when the day is over today. So like I think it's worth a shot. Maybe it's required, and then if I own it, if there's a challenge pump, I can sell it, or if it's a challenge I think is worth completing, I can complete it. So
I think that it is going to be the lowest either right now, like right as that fight, right as he got hurt, or by maybe tomorrow. I don't think it's going to get much lower because this is I mean, if you look at the other challenger moments
Mhm.
that are at this price right now, and remember how much hype, remember how popular he was going into this. We're
Yeah,
talking about some real bad ones. You know what I mean? Like we're talking
yeah,
about the worst of the worst. Ponzinibbio,
yeah,
$27. That's how much you could get a Tom Aspinall for. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We're talking about where's the other one? We got Pereira right here. He's even 31. You got Jan Kulaba, who's even, dude, he's even in a challenge and he's $29. That's how bad he is. He's going to be an upcoming chase. He's got a fight with Johnny Walker, who's coming
correct.
up. He's still only $29. To
Yeah,
me, people are going to realize that Tom Aspinall and Leon Edwards are both underpriced right now. They're also 100 mint less. They're brand new, so you gotta assume that they're gonna be put in a challenge, just like you said. Gotta assume they didn't print this, have everybody go out and buy one, and then they're not gonna use it for something, especially after he took damage.
yeah,
I don't think they're gonna want to not reward people who are holding it by just saying, okay, well, we're not even gonna use this again until he fights in a year.
yeah. Well,
I think they'll for sure use them.
I think this is interesting because this goes back to what we talked about when you and I like made our first videos, and Strike had just started, and we were just talking about like, hey, this is like a very, very, very new marketplace. Let's talk about what's going to happen like long term and what you should expect. And one of the things we brought up was unlike NBA Top Shot or NFL All Day, where a player has a bad game, no one cares. Their moment is going to tank by like a fat percentage. But if you get like knocked out, especially knocked out really bad, or in Aspinall's case where like he just got injured, like if he would have won, I think his moment would have just absolutely flown. But because he's injured, he's probably out for at least a year. Could be more. It's I those type of injuries are not easy to come back from, especially
Especially when you're a
in
heavy.
such a in yeah, especially in the heavyweight division and in the UFC compared to like I don't know, like baseball or something like that. Like it's just such a physically demanding sport where like if you're not at 100% like in your knee like that, like it's just gonna get targeted by your opponents, you know?
Mhm.
So I think yeah, I think this is a great example, and we've seen it happen over and over again, where like a fighter winning or losing like causes just like such a massive increase or decrease because that win could be like propel them to the next level, or that loss could just basically take them out of competition forever, really like turning their career into like a legendary like one where they challenge for the belt or get a belt or something like that, you know?
A good story arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If I was, here's my suggestion, not financial advice. If you don't have a Tom Aspinall, his lowest point I think is about right now. I don't see it
Right.
going any lower than $25. You know, that's now you're just barely playing with a dollar here or there. Like if you can get one for 27, great. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
I
do
just don't see it getting
you
worse.
think if there is a challenge, do you think post-challenge it could drop down to like 20 or even lower because people know it's done being used for a challenge and they know he's not gonna fight for a very long time?
No, no, just because we don't know that it won't be used in another challenge, and
True.
we also don't, like, it's a great moment. It's an incredible
It is
moment.
a
In
really
fact,
good
I was
moment.
just watching, his highlights, the other day, and, like, this was one of my favorite ones. This knee to elbow combo that's so good, like, he keeps going for that throughout the whole fight. and he gets him to bite on it, finally blocks it, and just boom, follows up with that elbow. It's so good.
So
No,
good.
I definitely think that, but guys, he's a good, this is a big prospect. Like this, you're maybe playing, you're not playing like the short game when you're buying Tom, especially now. You're playing
Yeah,
like, hey, I do think he can come back, like, and
correct.
do some big. And at $27, literally, you can't get a cheaper rare. You can't get a cheaper rare right now, and he's so much better than even some of the expensive rares.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
You know, it's can you believe this? This shows you something completely. If Ji Young Kim is $70 and she's fighting on the early prelims next week,
Hmm.
just because of people think she might be in a challenge, that's crazy. And you want to talk
Yeah,
about Tom Aspinall, who is like they were talking about fighting for the belt soon.
yeah,
Like
true.
$27, dude. You can't get a cheaper rare. I think this is the time to get them if you didn't have them. Let's talk about what happened to Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, like you said, we went from about $26. You could buy him. You could snipe him today at $26. Before the challenge announcement was made, I was buying everyone that hit $14. He was sitting
Right.
around 18 regularly. Looks like we're still moving. Nope, he's up to 34 now. People are still buying him. People are
Yeah,
still
there's a
buying him. That's pretty
nice
sweet.
healthy 34 there,
Yep,
but
pretty. Like
I
10
could
of them.
I could see it getting to 35, even 36.
It looks like there's 20 or so before 36. Once it hits 36, then you got that those wild jumps where it just starts to
Yeah,
go. I don't think this is getting to 40 or anything like that, but 34 is great, dude. I
yeah,
mean, that's $20 over what I was buying them for like a couple days ago. And now I have to make the decision. I have 16 now. I sold one, bought a Leon Edwards. I'm stacking Leon Edwards. That's my move right now. I
nice.
have now 16 of them, right? Part of
Hmm.
me wishes I would have just gotten 2 more at 17 and just burned a bunch, but, I wanna for sure keep 1 debut because I love the moment.
Correct. Yeah, you got to do
Do I
that.
burn 3 and hope that it holds, or do I sell another 5 at this price, just burn 2, and try to put my money kinda move my money around? This is a hard choice for me.
So I will say this: I was in no man's land. I had 4 Paddy Pimblets, so I sold 3 because would have to buy 2 in order to burn. And I was like, you know what? I should have bought them when they were like $18. Like I knew it was going to go up. It was a pretty There's a pretty good chance that there's going to be a burn challenge involving Paddy. But I will say the one thing that puts me on pause and makes me want to even say maybe you should sell a couple instead of getting 3 challenger moments is because I think we saw, like, we watched it, we were live streaming when he won. That moment just started running like crazy. Like so many were being bought, and because of the challenge, I think now there's going to be a much higher mint on that challenger moment. And the higher the mint, the less valuable it is, you know? So
True.
I mean, I would say one, you should slow roll it because you will have time between now and when the challenge ends to find out how many moments have been burned, how many completions there are of this Paddy Pimblett challenge, and then use that to determine if you should be continuing to burn because you think it's worth grabbing another one, or if you should go ahead and sell off because the mint count on the reward is going to be way too high.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the right move. I think I can wait a little bit. I knew for sure I was getting 1, so I went ahead and burned my first 5. Like, as soon as I got a Molly in my account, I was like, "Okay, there's no reason for me to wait,
Yeah,
to burn these 5 when I know for a fact I'm gonna be burning 5. I guarantee I'm going to do it."
correct. Yeah,
But now
yeah,
when I'm sitting on these last 11, okay, I'm with you. What do I do? It's kinda hard. I want to be completely honest, I regret, I mean, obviously, it's pretty easy to regret this, but I regret not just burning all 20 of my Chimaevs and just, you know,
yeah. That's
boy.
that's crazy. I honestly, and this is where things get interesting because with Top Shot, it's been such a no brainer for me to be like, yeah, if you're trying to make money, burning is not a good idea right now. But we've seen the opposite happen with UFC Strike. Like
All of them except for one.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's a little tougher here, and I definitely it caused me after the Chimaev and what was the other one? The who was the contender that you got?
Fiziev.
Yeah, after the Fiziev and the Chimaev, after the Fiziev drop, I was like, okay, I can't mess around. Like I need to be more prepared for these. And I believe I own like 30 Ian Garys now. I
I'm
own
ready for that one too. I
yeah,
know.
I'm
I
so
hope
ready
you
for that one. I have quite a few Naganos. I have a bunch of Terrence McKinney's.
big
I'm
one.
I think there's going to be a burn challenge when the Gone to Avasa fight happens, and it's going to be for a challenger Gone. And I think you're going to need 5 Gone and 5 to Avasa. That's my personal speculation. I thought of this a while ago, pretty much as soon as they announced the fight, because there's already a Tuivasa challenger. Having a Gone challenger makes a lot of sense. He's had some pretty crazy fights. He's a very
Or a
high
fandom.
level fighter. What?
Or a fandom.
Yeah, or a fandom. But either way, I think them burning a half, like 5 Gone, 5 to Avasa, or let's say they want to do it more like with the Paddy, how there's only 5, so maybe it's 3 Gone and 3 to Avasa. But either way, I think that's one that I'm starting to slowly prepare for because there's a lot of time between now and September 20th.
Francis
Yeah,
is 15 now.
yeah.
Francis keeps moving up. I always feel underprepared with Francis, and then it doesn't happen, and he drops back down to 10. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, actually, Francis is a great example because before, when the Fiziev burning was about to happen, we knew a burn challenge was happening. I think Francis got up to 18, 19, 20, and
Mhm.
then he wasn't really needed. In fact, it'd be stupid for you to burn. Oh no, you couldn't burn him because you had to do like by
Lightweight.
weight class, and he's the heavyweight. Um, and the Francis dropped down to 12, and it's like those are the moments you should be targeting to buy. Like,
Yeah.
don't be buying like if you're close to a number, like a nice round number, like if you have 9 Francises and you're like, oh, I want 11 in case 10 are needed, so that way I can keep 1 contender and burn 10, then yeah, go ahead and buy before the burn challenge is announced. But otherwise, like once a burn challenge is announced, there's this massive release where a lot of people who are speculating incorrectly just dump a bunch of moments,
They
whether it's
do.
whether
Feels
because
wild to me.
I think it's because they're trying to get enough dapper to get the moments in order to burn.
Mhm.
So, like, they're like, "Oh, well, I'll just sell these Francises now so I can go and buy the patties to burn." But those are the times you want to target for like picking up more moments and stacking ones that matter. I mean, I think there was some speculation that Kai Kara France was going to be used, but like previously, I think
I
there's a good
think he will be next week.
I think there's a good chance he's used next week. But he got up decently high and then he wasn't needed. He dipped and I bought him like crazy. I think I have 14 now. Like I think the move, like
Smart. I mean, he's almost back up to 10 already.
jeez Louise. I think the move with UFC Strike is like I make sure I own every contender because I am a completionist. I love collecting the moments and considering most contenders are pretty cheap, like why not just own them all? But then I'm just spending all my spare dapper on stacking series 0. Every now and then if there's like a challenger that I think is going to be in a challenge that I think is like people are sleeping on, I'll also go like scoop one of those up. But for like I bought 2 as soon as the Diaz fight was announced, I bought 2 Nate Diaz's for like 90-ish a piece, I think.
Oh, he did. Good
Yeah.
buy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bummed that I don't have more Nate Diaz's. I only have the one.
Oh yeah. It might have been a little trigger happy for me, but so far it's been a good trading decision to say the
So,
least. It's
at
up.
least $30 for you.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise I feel like the move is just to continue to pound series 0 because like look, there are 24,000 mint count on each series 0 moment, and there is 12,000 to 10,000 for series 1. So you know they have to burn 12,000 to 14,000 of each Series Zeros moment, like sooner rather than later. So just like looking at cards, looking ahead, looking at fights, just speculating, like even on a low level, like not, you don't have to get too complex, and just stacking Series Zero is just the no-brainer move right now. And if you stack a Series Zero fighter who's not used in a burning challenge, you don't have to panic sell and get rid of them all, because there's a very good chance that that Series Zero fighter will eventually be required in some sort of burning challenge. So
I agree. I also, though, I am taking a somewhat. I'm doing a couple of things different. Also, UFC Strike, please get some of your filters together. Like, get some of this shit together. This is
I hope, yeah,
so
I hope we're
nuts.
close to a
I
big
I think
facelift
we
on this.
are. I think we are, but it's so frustrating. Okay, so here we go. Wellington Terman, $2. I've been
Mhm.
trying to grab $2. If they pop up and I got $2 in my account, I try to grab them, because
Yeah, I like
burning
that.
$2 moments is a lot easier than burning, 3, 4, $5 moments. And knowing that, like, especially when they do airdrops, I always go to the marketplace right after, because a bunch of people just list to move them real quick.
Yeah.
Every pack drop, you'll have a bunch of these $2 moments, and if you're sitting there ready, you can grab them, because if they do the weight class, if they do the burns like weight class, they that they so far, if we follow the tradition, you don't have to burn just Series Zero. The
Yeah.
lightweights, it was a lot better to burn Series One than Series Zero. The Series Zero stuff was actually better than the Series One stuff. So I burned a bunch of $2 Series One stuff, and that was better for me. So, like for heavyweights, if they're going to do a heavyweight burn challenge, say it's not necessarily, but maybe it's burn five
Mhm.
on, five to Avasa, and five of any heavyweight.
Mm.
You're not going to want to burn your Ngannou's,
Definitely
right?
not.
Like,
Definitely not.
that would suck. So you might wanna burn, what's his face? I can't even remember his name. He's like one of the guys that I literally don't buy at all. I'm trying to find it. It's, Jake Collier.
Oh, okay.
So here we go. So Jake Collier, $3. A lot of times his moments pop up for $2. He's a heavyweight. It's a perfect burn candidate. It's not something that anybody's gonna really wanna be stacking a whole bunch of. You know what I mean? So you look at all these $2 moments.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
gets he gets dropped for $2 all the time because people won't buy him at 3. But
Yeah.
this is a perfect burn candidate for that heavyweight challenge, just in case. So just having maybe 3 or 4 of these on hand, if they're $2 a piece, good to have.
I like
Um,
that. Also, I think one thing that's worth pointing out that I look at a lot is the number available. So if you look
yep.
at like that, like especially with Series One, the number available is pretty small in comparison to the min count, which is kind of crazy. But if you look at Series Zero, you can kind of see which fighters are the most coveted by how much are available. So if you go to
Okay.
the filters real quick and do Series Zero contenders and sort by lowest ask. So let's do contenders on a tier, and then yeah, apply, and then sort by lowest ask. I think it's Gary. If you scroll down, so a lot of these guys over 1,000 are available, 1,100 are available.
11 hours.
Um, yeah, but then you see Gary at
Yeah,
under
800.
800. So that's a good indicator, and compared to everyone else, it is so different. I think Paddy is, I mean, obviously he's in a challenge now, so that's a little skewed.
Gary in theory.
Yeah, Kai Kara France, but even Nagano is up to 1,100. Paddy's, I think, was around 900 before the challenge, and Hamza was the other one that's like pretty low. But those are good indicators at how much people want these moments. Like if the number is much lower than all the others, that is a coveted moment. So it might be worth looking at sniping as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's like 100% true. I think
Yeah.
that's
It's also interesting because there's so few available for so many of these Series 1, and just makes me wonder if they ever start burning Series 1, are Series 1 gonna start moving? Like, I know they did the one challenge where you could burn it, But I feel like for the most part, their focus, at least for now, is aggressively burning Series 0.
I agree. I think their focus will be that, but I do think that they're going to include Series 1 on some of these. That's because I think people would want to. There's a lot of Series 1 that people are like, I don't really care that much about that fighter. I just need my one. I can
Yeah.
work some.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the fact that they give us the option because some of the Series 0 fighters, like, I like a lot. And I
Yeah. I'm
no, I don't.
definitely more attached to all the Series 0 fighters than the Series 1. Series 1 is much more hit and miss for sure.
Yeah. But as a kind of as a wrap up of what happened to the marketplace, like, look at the activity one more time. I mean, Tom Aspinall, there we go. He might already be popping back up.
Oh, wow.
No, 28, 28. I truly don't believe that he will stay this price for that long. I think people will realize what they're doing. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's even going to dip much farther. I think the very lowest would have been to buy it would have been right when he got hurt. I think that would have been you just
I think
snipe off some of
people
those.
panic sold that like
Yep,
crazy.
exactly. Right here, right around this 26, 24. I think there was a 24.
Yeah, I think I saw 24 at some point.
But yeah, so, like, I don't see it going lower. It's a freaking contender at 1400 or a challenger moment at 1400 mint. Heavyweight when we have heavyweight challenges that we're pretty sure are coming up, and a great fighter. And then
True.
Paddy winning. I think so many people. I think the only reason that this was kind of dipping today is so many people were scared he wasn't going to win. And with that
Yeah.
win, I think that challenger, yes, there might be more. Here's my last opinion on that. Yes, there might be more now, but I also think it's worth more now because people are going to think different about Paddy. There's still going to be people like I think he really did prove a lot of people that he is kind of for real. He just beat a guy who's 10-1 and everybody thought he was going to lose. All the people who are really like UFC pickers and think his gambling odds were a little different because Paddy's just really popular, but like all the actual UFC like sports bet people had Jordan winning.
Yeah, all the smart money was on Jordan, it seemed, for sure.
Yeah. So I think he proved a lot of people wrong. And I think this was the post-fight interview and the post-fight like personality that a lot of people needed to not just think this was a great fight week for him. The mooning, the hand, his opponent was perfect for this type of thing.
Yeah, really.
Emotional ending to his fight, like this is a big week for him. And Molly winning, like I think that his rare could end up being a lot if it gets minted under 800, $200 rare, I think.
It's possible. It's possible for sure.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't know. Any final thoughts for the people, Jeb?
I mean, I just bought a Tom Aspinall just now, so
That's fun.
yeah. I'm we'll see what happens with it, but I'm excited to. I think it's worth the risk, at least from my risk assessment. And
$28 to own a fighter that's truly great, and maybe you're helping the fighter out every sale he makes.
That's true.
He's going to be going through some hard times.
I'm paying for his physical therapy.
You paid for a quarter of a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you pay for them to go high.
But yeah, I think UFC Strike is just so much fun right now. It's so exciting.
It's a lot of fun.
They're doing such a great job at curating the moments, burning the moments, creating like very compelling challenges. And I mean, even I'll even go so far as to say, I know a lot of people were very disappointed about the dojo level 1 challenge where you got like the poster, which I did get. I went and bought Wonder Boy rare so I could get the poster because I wanted to. But I think just the fact that so early on we already are doing challenges where you can get a physical prize is super, super cool. And I think there's more of that to come, along with like a bunch of these moments. They're just doing a really good job at balancing things. Like it makes me very, very excited for the future. makes me very excited for the next drop. All these $10 packs where you have a shot at a champion moment, but worst case scenario, you're adding to your collection of contenders and you're really not losing like substantial money. I think that's all great. So I've been a huge fan of what Strike is doing, and it's hard to even keep up with, much less make content about like keeping up with it. So it's been great. It's been great. I'm so stoked.
I agree. I love it. I love it. And I mean, I love the sport, but I just am thankful that what they're doing with the product itself is actually fun and
Yeah.
worth it. And I think it helps that there's just an event every weekend. But the team is definitely trying to use that to their advantage. And right now, I was just telling Clegane this. If you're into basketball, if you're into, football, if you're into all these other sports, I get it. You might not be a huge UFC fan. Why would you not be right now, though? We're in the off season of basically everything.
Yeah.
The UFC
Yeah.
never has an off season. You could really take this time to like check out some of these fighters, learn the storylines, and really
Just
fall in love with
dip
at
your
least
toe in.
dip your toe in. I really think it's worth it.
Yeah,
Really
no,
do.
that's such a good point. That like sports is like July is like the most boring month of sports, like across the board. It's like there is nothing going on with the NBA right now, nothing going on with the NFL. This is such a great time for you to like if you just love sports to like take a shot at like watching some of these free fight nights and just seeing if there's any fighters that you relate with or any ones that you're excited to watch, because I think the UFC is like a really really cool sport, and I mean Strike has really just taken my fandom to the next level with it. So
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Well, until next time, I'm just glad that we get to make videos together. And that was a fun fight night. We will catch you all after next week's fight. Thanks for watching.